it looks like Republicans may be able to win some of the top contests without runoffs. Take a look. In the race for Georgia governor, this brand new Insider Advantage Fox 5 poll shows incumbent Republican Brian Kemp leading Democratic challenger Stacey Abrams with 50% compared to her 45%. Libertarian Shane Hazel polled at 1%, with the other 4% either choosing other or undecided. In the U.S. Senate contest, Republican Herschel Walker is at 49% against incumbent Democrat Reverend Raphael Warnock, who polled at 47%. In that race, again, we saw 1% saying they will vote for the Libertarian in the race. That's Chase Oliver. And the other 3% are either undecided or other.
During my coverage of the 2020 presidential election, a realization dawned upon me that I haven't thought much about up until now. And that realization is that the Democratic Party would rather lose an election than bend the knee to Black America and finally break the policy of benign neglect. And their willingness to lose is something that we are currently witnessing firsthand with the Georgia gubernatorial race between Brian Kemp and Stacey Abrams. As opposed to honestly dealing with Black Americans in Georgia, Black men in particular, they would rather lose the race and run with their built-in excuse that Black men didn't show up because they've succumbed to the demon of disinformation, as Brittney Cooper stated last Sunday, and I'll play that clip for you shortly. But as we go through this quick montage of Democrats falsely claiming that Black men are falling victim to misinformation and disinformation, I want you to pay attention to how they never actually explain what the mis or disinformation actually is that Black men are woefully succumbing to.
You had 94% of the Black vote in the last election, and you lost by 55,000 votes. So mathematically, if you have even more of the Black vote turnout, you might have won that election. Where is the Black vote for you right now? Because some observers have said it's not as enthusiastic as it was last time around.
Again, this is a question of who's doing the polling and who's doing the counting. We have seen record turnout. Black men have increased their participation rates by 52% over 2018. And I do not believe it's because of a deep well of enthusiasm for my opponent. We know that Black voters are often discounted. And unfortunately, this year, Black men have been a very targeted population for misinformation. Not misinformation about what they want, but about why they want what they deserve.
Not misinformation about what they want, but about why they want what they deserve?
What? Stacey Abrams' focus on the misinformation that's being targeted at Black men. And it makes me wonder, is she not getting the Black support she needs in her race against Brian Kemp?
Listen, Jonathan, I think that Stacey is spot on with that. I listen as my kids watch NBA highlights and whatever else they watch on YouTube. I hear the misinformation being piped in. My 12-year-old, my 14-year-old son, my 20-year-old is getting it. So there is definitely a target toward African-American men, not just to give them misinformation, but to make them so discouraged that they won't show up to vote.
Keisha literally just threw her 12, 14, and 20-year-old son under the bus for the Democratic Party. Let that sink in for a moment. She's lying on her own sons. She just said she listens to them getting misinformation from NBA highlights.
I listen as my kids watch NBA highlights and whatever else they watch on YouTube. I hear the misinformation being piped in.
What?
What political misinformation are they getting from NBA highlights? Once again, this woman is lying on her own sons for the Democratic Party. Wow.
There are those in our community beset by the kinds of spirits that seek to destroy us. We need to think robustly, just for instance, about the demon of disinformation that permeates our communities and that renders some of our most vulnerable men, our most visible men, the Kanyes and Kyries, the Drakes. Keep Megan Pete's name out your mouth. Okay. The old people won't get it, but the young people do. the Drakes and Tory Laneses of the world, foaming at the mouth, rapidly spouting anti-Semitic, anti-Black, anti-feminist, anti-factual statements. We need to talk about the demon of disinformation that has Black male voters in Georgia willing to support Raphael Warnock, but not Stacey Abrams.
So now Black men are possessed by the demon of disinformation? And apparently we're getting this demonic political disinformation from Drake and Tory Lanez?
The Drakes and Tory Laneses of the world, foaming at the mouth, rapidly spouting anti-Semitic, anti-Black, anti-feminist, anti-factual statements.
You see, this is why Black men are slowly but surely walking away from the Democratic Party, because of nonsense like this. Notice how they never get on national television or any stage for that matter and actually address policy and what the tangible benefits would be to voting for Abrams. No, instead they insult Black men by stating that we're getting misinformation from NBA highlights, Drake and Tory Lanez. Translation: if Stacey Abrams loses in Georgia, it's because Black men are unintelligent, anti-Semitic, sexist morons who get their political information from NBA highlights, Drake, and Tory Lanez. What all of this shows you is that the Democrats have no problem losing elections so long as they can pin their losses on Black men. And with all that being said, that does it for today's video. So please make sure you hit the subscribe button as well as the bell notification next to the subscribe button so you'll be notified whenever I release a new video. And also, please make sure you text tdhiphop to number 33222. That's tdhiphop to number 33222. That way you'll get a text notification whenever I release a new video, but it also serves as an insurance plan for myself. So in case YouTube ever gives me the axe, I'll be able to send you a direct link to where you can find me next. And last but certainly not least, for those of you who have a love and appreciation for the work that I put in on this channel, the number one way you can show your support is through Patreon. For only $3 a month, that will help put me in position to take TD Hip Hop Media off of YouTube. Remember, the goal is not to grow big on YouTube, but to grow independent of YouTube. And for those of you who have issues with joining Patreon, you can also hit the join button that's next to the subscribe button, and that way you can become an official channel member for as little as $3 a month as well. And lastly, if you haven't already, please make sure you join the emailing list. There is no way that I can go independent of YouTube if I cannot take the audience with me. And the link to that will be pinned in the comment section as well. Thank you for your time, and until the next video, peace.